Okay, I think we'll get started. It's 7 o'clock. Welcome everyone. I'd like to welcome anyone who's viewing on YouTube. We are live streaming to this special council meeting on the 13th of July 2020. So I'll just go through our agenda. I'd like to acknowledge this land that we meet on tonight is the traditional lands for the Kaurna people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. So roll call, we have everyone here. Welcome everyone. We have no apologies. Are there any motions to grant leave of absence, councillors? I don't see anybody putting their hand up. I don't have any leave of absence and there are no non-attendance. We do have Acting CEO Ryan Viney. Welcome, Ryan. And also Kate Symes, who's our minute taker for the evening. Welcome, Kate. So now we'll move down. There are public open forum. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in the public open forum? Okay. Declarations of interest. Is there any elected member who wishes to declare an interest in any of tonight's discussions? No? I'll keep moving. Questions without notice. Motions without notice. So we'll move now to confidential reports. And we do have, thank you to staff for putting this together. We do have a recommendation to go into confidence to discuss this matter. How do you wish to proceed, Council? Are you happy to move the officer's recommendation? Do you wish to speak at all, Councillor Fraser? Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hughes, do you wish to speak at all?
Yes, I'd like to speak because it does involve the motion and our discussion could involve unreasonable disclosure or information concerning personal affairs of a person, namely our CEO. So I think it's very important that we go into confidence.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Koch, you've got your hands up.
Yeah, I'm supporting going into confidence. We had an email from Acting CEO, Mr. Viney, talking about the potential of, if we went in conflict with defamation and industrial relations concerns. So it could put our council in liability, could be, so financially, for example. So I think it's important that we go into confidence. Thank you.
Thank you. I might just refer to you, Mr. Bond, if you can just detail that advice that you circulated today.
Yeah, through the Mayor. Obviously, the matter today has been put forward by the administration as it is considered to be of a personal affairs nature, and it is considered to be best dealt with as a confidential matter. Ultimately, as the councillors have suggested, there is the opportunity for defamation and also industrial relations type matters, and it is considered that that should be considered by the council in its deliberations going into confidence.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Shanks?
Yeah, look, I don't think this matter needs to be in confidence. By the logic of what may be said in open debate, and putting something in confidence is a little bit of a dangerous thing, because in that view, my opinion, I guess, would be then we should be, everything should be in confidence, because we may be worried about how some may act. I have the utmost confidence in all my elected members to know where the line is and to make sure that they're not to operate in a malice intent. And I don't feel like accusations or anything of the same sort of style are going to be thrown out. And that's truly what I believe. So I don't see the need for this to be in confidence. And if I'm proven wrong, I'll be very disappointed in the elected members that do prove me wrong on that.
Thank you. Well, I'll go to Councillor Davies and then I'll get your question and then go to Councillor Tooley.
So, yeah, well, when I originally agreed to support Councillor Shanks in his move for a special meeting, one of the main points was that I felt that we'd been poor in our communication to the public when it came to dealing with our issues. And I just think that, you know, it's a mistake to think that if we don't make any noise on a subject, then we're doing a good job at media because it makes us a smaller target. But in my view, I think it just means that stories will continue to be written and without our input. And look, I'm aware that there are people out here who have strong views about this from multiple viewpoints. And I think, you know, I think that's good. I would love if the people who, you know, had strong views about why it's a good idea or a bad idea were able to put that out there properly and give us a stance, give us, you know, viewpoints that show, look, we're paying attention, you know, we're trying to do something, we've looked at the evidence and here's what we've found, one way or the other. I think either of those ways would be better than what we're doing now. So yeah, and look, as Councillor Shanks said, you know, anything can generally be boiled down to, you know, discussion of you know, personal affairs theoretically, but that's not what that's not the intent in my view. Is you know, dealing with work affairs is something that we do here at work, in my view. So yeah, so that's why I wouldn't be supporting going to confidence.
Thank you. Councillor Kosh, you got a question?
Councillor Shanks talked about people talking in malice. Isn't the whole topic and subject, isn't that the issue? It's not what we say, but isn't that the issue, that it could be detrimental to the CEO and there could be ramifications?
I guess that's the advice.
Yeah,
from
so
the
that it's not just what
administration.
is said, but in fact the whole shebang should be kept in confidence because it could lead to legal concerns down the track.
That's what the administration view is. Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
I'll go to Councillor Tooley and then back that way. Councillor Tooley.
You need to remember, I think, members, that this is the exact same motion that I submitted about 3 weeks ago. And you all saw the emails that came forward and backwards, and it ended up with the Mayor telling us publicly that she would not accept it as a motion without notice. And she said the exact same motion could be submitted as a motion on notice. Governance had it, the Mayor had it, admin had it. At no point did anybody ever come back to me at any point to say there was a problem with the wording. And given that this council can turn that information over very quickly, they ring a lawyer, they get advice. There was no such suggestion at all that my wording or my motion was in any way needing to be in confidence, nor was it problematic. I'd remind you of that. Second thing I'd say is that the regulations that the Ombudsman administers says quite clearly that he is sick and tired of secrecy. He says at the beginning here, in the Act, which he reinforces, all meetings should be open to the public. The point that's been raised here says that information of a personal affairs. That means if you were talking about the personal affairs, we're not going to do that. I would not be party of that. On the 28th of April, at item 11.8, the members of this chamber engaged in discussing my personal affairs. They didn't even use the word allegation. I was judged to have been in breach of behaviour, sustained behaviour breaches, and these members in the public forum openly called for an investigation report into me. I didn't agree with that. And if tonight we were to go into talking about the matters and accusing Mr. Anat in the way I was accused, I wouldn't have a part of it. I do not agree with that. I didn't agree what happened on that on the date on the 28th, and I wouldn't agree with that tonight. And the wording of today's motion was very carefully chosen, that it deals with the matter that's before us, that is bringing this council and CEO Anat under a question. It deals with matters of reaffirming our beliefs about safe workplaces. And it says that we believe an investigation is the best way in order to clear the matter up. We will not be going into the allegations. I will not be party to any defamation or shaming of Mr. Anat. He is not here to defend himself, and that would not be natural justice. That would be improper, and that sort of matter should always be dealt in confidence. What we're dealing with tonight is a proposal to clear this matter up. You have seen them, I've seen them. They are continuing in the paper. If we tonight decide to go into confidence, we will again be on the front page of the Advertiser, of the Bunyip. Our community will look at us and say, it's exactly what I thought. There's a double standard. They're protecting certain people. They're covering up. They're opaque. They are not transparent. And there is no grounds for this to be in confidence. We will not be breaching that point. We will not be talking about the personal affairs. We are dealing with what's been in the public realm, and it's what's in the public realm and in the public interest that has brought us here tonight. And I'll conclude by telling you this. The President of the Upper House in South Australia, no complaint was put in against that man, but the ABC and the Advertiser ran stories. That triggered a reaction by the government. There was no cover-up. It was done in open camera, and they've decided, not that he's guilty, but they've decided that it will be referred to the ICAC in the public sphere to keep confidence in the government. A very serious matter. We need to restore the confidence of our community in us that we do things openly, fairly, and transparently. And tonight they are watching this feed. The journalists are watching this feed. They need to know what we say and how we vote on this matter tonight. And that is a fair and decent thing that we're doing for our community. We must not go into confidence.
Councillor Vallelonga, you're next. If you can turn your mic on, thanks, Jim. It's okay.
Question to Ryan. You said there could be implications. What would they be?
Well, it's actually a question to me.
Sorry,
yeah,
I thought...
because I'm chairing the
sorry,
meeting.
through you, Mayor, sorry, yeah.
So what was your question?
What implications could there and would there be? Because I didn't think there would be any implications, and what would they be so we don't have any implications?
Ryan? Is this about going into confidence? Because that's what we're discussing at the moment.
Yeah, through the chair, obviously the subject matter and the motion that may be discussed or passed or resolved is, and the discussion that may be around that motion is of a sensitive nature and could lead to some form of defamation case being claimed against council or some industrial relations action commenced. Now, obviously, we don't know the extent of what may or may not transpire in the conversation and the discussion, and also what may come from the motion. But there is a risk there, and I suppose the administration's put forward that this matter would be best dealt with in confidence.
So I'm going to go to Councillor Goldstone and work around the table. I'll get to you, Councillor Shanks.
Thanks. Yeah, look, based on my experience, I would say it would be almost unheard of for a matter of this, such as this, to be discussed in open council. I've never have come across it before. Staff have quite rightly advised us that it opens us up to defamation and industrial relations action or possible action. So I fully support going into camera.
Thank you. Now, Councillor Shanks, you've already spoken. Question?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. If we as the elected body are careful in our deliberations, is there also a chance that we will not attract any defamation or industrial relations actions if we act in a way that
Well,
is appropriate?
I'm going to answer that. I don't think we can guarantee, because there's 11 of us around the table, and that is plausible. However, discussion is discussion, and you can't, once somebody speaks, it's too late. So you don't know what somebody's going to say until they've actually said it. So I don't think it's possible to control that completely. So it is up to people to be mindful of that if we're not in confidence, but there's no guarantee. Because once the words are spoken, they're already out in public, and you don't know, I don't know as chair what somebody's going to say until they've said it. And only then you can assess it. So I guess, you know, it's up to each elected member to determine that. Councillor Samble.
Thank you, Mayor Karen. This motion from Councillor Fraser and Councillor Hughes, and also the comments that has just been said by Councillor Tooley, is that this is for this to go into confidence for us to discuss.
Yes.
Around this room, there is 10 different minds ticking over right now. And I don't see a problem, but I'd like to know in confidence what we all are on the track and what this is all about. At the end of this, we can either vote to leave it in confidence or it goes out.
That's right.
To me, this is the best way to do it with the advice that I've received. My phone has run red hot. It's an old phone. It's the one that had blown up today. I've never, ever been involved with council with such confusion amongst the 11 people in this room, along with the staff, because I'd like to find out what it is, and then at the end, I will make the decision whether I vote to leave it in confidence or to allow it to go out to the public. So personally, myself, after the calls and that, I will be supporting this to go into confidence and considering at the end of it whether it goes on out, because I do think that all of us need to be able to discuss exactly what we know and don't know. I mean, I think this is the big thing, because I've been around Gawler for a few years. I've phoned and talked to a lot of people, and I'm bloody confused, if it's spelt BLO. Thank you.
Thank you. You got a question?
Yes, and this question may hopefully allay Councillor Samble's fears. Mayor, when legal advice was recently given regarding the matter of discussing my behaviour in public, where the word allegation was not used, I was actually, I claim, defamed because people called me a bully and worse. The legal advice that was given said that even though that might have been inadvertent, it might have slipped out, council and councillors are protected.
Okay.
That's the advice you got.
So this is the subject of another matter, and I think you've been advised,
my question
Councillor
is-
Tooley,
my question, Mayor,
deal.
is-
No, I'm not going to allow the question, because
The
you
legal-
know
is the legal
you've been
advice that-
advised to only deal with the schemes in that matter. So I will stop you there.
Can I have a second question?
Well, if it's
Is-
about that, then I can't allow that
Okay.
either.
Is it true that councils and councillors are protected from defamation?
Not necessarily, and it depends on the matter. Depends on the matter.
I think that's
So
incorrect.
I won't go any further, because you know that, that you're to deal with the schemes on that matter. Okay. I think we've had good discussion. Now, Councillor Fraser, you moved the motion. Do you want to wrap up? Would you like to? That's fine. The debate is closed. I'll put that motion. All those in favour of the motion, please raise your hands. All those against? The motion is carried on the casting vote of the Mayor. Councillor Tooley has called a division. Kate, I can't see the minutes, Kate. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah. I'll just allow Kate to catch up. Okay, so all those in favour, please stand and I'll call out your name. All those in favour is Councillor Kosh, Councillor Goldstone, Councillor Hughes, Councillor Samble and Councillor Fraser. If you can remain standing. All those against are Councillor Davies, Councillor Valalonga, Councillor Tooley, Councillor Little and Councillor Shanks. The motion is carried on the casting vote of the Mayor. Thank you. Okay, so now we're in confidence. If somebody could shut that door. Thanks, Jim. And if you can please, we need to vacate the chamber. Thank you, gentlemen. Apologies, but thank you. Thank you. And we'll